Okay.
I've done it.
Good. So this webinar is being sponsored by World Remit, as we know, and we really want to really crave the indulgence of other participants in the webinar regarding sponsorship. We're looking at the creative futures and also the charity of the speaker for today, which is Safari City Agri Community. Today's webinar is the Agricbusiness for social impact. Why do we have engineers? Why engineers? In a nutshell, that is going to be a long-winded explanation, but I know definitely the topic delivered today will be able to do justice to that. We need to understand the impact of engineers when we talk about agribusiness as a whole. And the speaker is going to come with a very good experience, tried and tested, and with consummate results in all these areas of agribusiness and engineering. He has a background in engineering, and definitely he knows exactly what he's talking about when he's talking about the engineering impact in agribusiness. Our facilitator for this webinar today is Engineer Bayo Jekayinfa, the founder of and CEO of Safari Cities Limited. And these are the things I want us to maybe to understand. Before we start, let's quickly do normal housekeeping. The normal housekeeping is basically we need to make sure definitely we are muted unless we have been given the chance to talk. So at the moment, we might need to mute everybody, as it were, so that we can have decorum in the house. So as you log in, please mute yourself, please, so that we don't have any kind of disturbance. Thank you very much for that. And I want to also let us know what we have been doing in the NSE London so far. I don't want to be a kind of repetition of what we have been doing over time and time. We have been involved in social impact in terms of engineering activities on the community as a whole. We've been able to carry on during this COVID period on webinars to educate, inform, and at the same time participate and collaborate with other members in the engineering community regarding engineering advancement, both in the UK here and also in Nigeria. Since our inception 2.5 years ago, we have ventured into the forays of engineering advancement. We have been able to kind of maybe have a synergy participation with other business entities all over the UK in terms of discussion of creating avenues for engineers to better the lives of themselves, number one, and then to add value to their community. And in that same time, definitely we have all been consumed by the advent of COVID-19, but that has not deterred us at all to do other things that we have been able to do credible webinars to inform ourselves as well in other areas and educate ourselves. And today's webinar is not going to be any different in the sense that it's going to add more value to our knowledge as engineers in the agribusiness. Also, definitely looking forward as the COVID is winding up, we have been able to put things into place whereby deeper and stronger relationship collaborations are going to come forth, either within the scope of engineers in London or within the scope of engineers even in the whole of the United Kingdom. We're talking about coming together, not working in silos, but working together to see how we can really improve the engineering community in the United Kingdom and even outside the country as well. We've had increase in numbers of our participants, and definitely we are never short of people to take us through webinar sessions like this. In fact, our timetable is filled up till the end of the year as it is now, because we know there are enough talent and enough credible professionals that we can gain from their line of experience, and then to educate us on how to move forward in our engineering profession and life as it is. And also in that same vein, definitely we have ventured into grassroots collaborations with schools We have our able public secretary, which I'm going to call upon very soon to give us a kind of overview of the impact of NSE in Nigeria. So definitely we have been getting inroads into all these activities as well. We have collaborations as well. We are talking together with the other branches in UK to see how we can all see a better engineering community for our country in Nigeria. It's all about centered on bringing the motherland into a better status and using our God-given talents and experience from the diaspora. And in that same way, definitely, I want to use the opportunity to welcome all of us to this webinar today. I would like to recognize the presence of or any of the representative of our president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers worldwide. I always call it worldwide because we have branches outside Nigeria now. So it's not going to be Nigerian Society of Engineers in Nigeria alone, but worldwide. So I'm talking about Engineer Bagana Mohammed or any of his representatives. And I want to also recognize the presence of other dignitaries in the engineering world, talking about our colleagues in Manchester, the chairman of the Manchester branch, the chairman of the Glasgow branch as well. We want to recognize your presence and want to recognize the presence of also the Upwent champion, the chair lady of Upwent here, who happens to be a close relative, in fact, the junior sister of the presenter, Engineer Jelade. You are welcome as well. And we want to also recognize all our colleagues and friends of the co-presenters who are even from Houston. I can see somebody from Houston as well. You are welcome, because for you to have taken your time to even show up, definitely, that means you must have had real interest in this webinar. So you are all welcome to this webinar as we start at this particular moment. Before I give a brief kind of maybe profile description of the speaker, I'm going to use the opportunity to call on Dr. Sunday Pokuola over there in Nigeria, just to give us a snapshot of the engineering development happening in Nigeria. So we want to hear from the horse's mouth what is on ground in Nigeria in just a brief, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and just to give us a feel as a representative of Nigerian Society of Engineers London branch in Nigeria. So Dr. Sunday, are you there? Can you just give us a brief outline of the engineering landscape in Nigeria at the moment?
Right. Thank you very much. There's a lot of things happening here. I live in the Butemeta, very close to about Macaulay and Muritala Mohammed Way, and you could see all the building work going on the Nigerian Railway, the terminal at Butemeta. Right.
I can see maybe we've lost.
It's an impressive building, just like Kings, where the station is being put together. And no, I'm still here, and all the facilities around it. I think it's taking shape. I just hope and wish that the same thing is repeated.
Sorry about the bandwidth there.
Applicable in other states, so that as you go along between the states, work is done. Whether it's really the Chinese, each time I walk past, I see a lot of Nigerians working on these so
I think the bandwidth of the internet there is
very positive. People are learning how to do this thing. We can continue to do this thing ourselves. And then, which is Kwara State, which is where I'm at this year, the town of Stone Image. It has the first road construction in terms of school buildings, in other states because the economy. You link people together into the markets to be able to sell and connect with each other. And the same way with schools. We want to educate. We want an educated population. Once we have that, people can do things themselves. They don't have to rely on the government to get things done. So those are the few things that I've picked up. And next week, those of you guys in Abuja, I'm coming to deliver our face masks to all of you in Abuja. Our NSE face masks we are coming to give you. Those people who have supported us, you get a copy. And then the following week, I'll be in Lagos. The chairman are giving me the opportunity. He's paid for my flight, my one-way flight to Lagos, again, to distribute our face masks and meet a lot of people. Lagos State is doing some amazing work. I just hope other states can do the same thing. So thank you very much. I don't want to go too much on that.
Thank you so much, Doctor, on that brief brief description of what is happening in Lagos. And I think the benefit behind that is for us to get first-hand information of what is happening. And it goes to show definitely there are so many areas for our impact. And I know that my colleagues from Manchester and my colleagues from Glasgow, Dr. Bidoyi and Dr. Adid, definitely I know they are on board at the moment. They'll be able to kind of share that same view with us because yes, they too, they've got that kind of mindset to see how we can have that transfer of technology from diaspora to see what we can maybe impact in the country as it is. Yeah, and I'm just going to give us a brief profile on our webinar host today about the presenter. He's the CEO of Savara Cities Agri Community Development, and his name is Engineer Bayo Jekayinfa. Engineer Bayo Jekayinfa is the founder and CEO of Safari Cities Limited, a Nigerian-based entity with a primary focus on developing communities. Engineer Bayo is a civil engineer and an impact investor with a background in information technology, finance, accounting, and is CPA certified. I need to more or less kind of bust there. Definitely Engineer Bayo, like I told people that came up very early, was my course mate at the University of Ife, Great Ife. We were in the same class. We spent 5 wonderful years together, and definitely he has standed himself as a good scholar. And definitely, I'm not surprised that he has come this far doing this. And I hold him in high esteem as a colleague and as a friend. He holds a master's degree in management and finance from Harvard University, a graduate diploma in accounting from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, and a master's in geotechnical engineering from the University of Lagos, and a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the Obafemi Awolowo University, formerly known as University of Ife. He's an alumnus of the prestigious GCI Government College Ibadan, and Engineer Bayo is passionate about helping people become better versions of themselves. And that's one of the things I've always said, yes, definitely I can say 101% about Bayo. Bayo has always been that kind of person. He has that kind of personality from the time I've known him about 25 to 30 odd years ago, in terms of having this cohesive nature of bringing people together just to make things better. I've always known him to be a problem solver, and I'm so delighted to see how far he has come after so many times of not setting eyes on him. At the moment, he lives with his family in California, United States, and earlier in his career, before moving to the US, Bayo has led so many areas of endeavors in engineering. He led the World Bank funded construction projects in areas of building dams and even roads to provide potable and irrigation water for farming communities in the Oyo North area of Nigeria. And I could see definitely that was where the passion for having engineers' participation in agribusiness must have come from. That experience of working on farming projects in terms of civil engineering must have created that passion in him to go into agribusiness. And without much ado, and with all respect to everyone on the platform today, our colleagues from the former University of Ife. Even I've got the Apwen chairwoman here, Engineer Fumi Ojelade, who happens to be the junior sister of Bayo Jekayinfa. I want to say we are welcome to this, can I call it August? Well, definitely still in April. It's April webinar, as we now hand over the baton to Engineer Bayo Jekayinfa for our webinar for today. Bayo, over to you, please.
Thank you, Engineer Bosun, for the wonderful introduction and the accolades. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining the session and taking the time to join. I'm hoping that we'll all have a good discussion and benefit from the information that we're about to share. I'm going to get my screen to be shared. Or am I sharing my screen already? No. So let me share my screen. You're on screen 1. So do I just share the one I'm looking at? Okay, let me share this. So, so I'm going to share my presentation. I think that would take you off.
Yes, we can see it now.
Awesome. Awesome. So again, I appreciate everybody's time. Let me also play this. Set this in presentation mode. Okay. Are we seeing my presentation mode?
Not yet.
I can see the slides.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to make it bold? Oh, sorry. Maybe zoom. Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Let me just go through it. I think when I'm doing multi-screen.
You can go back to slideshow.
I can go back to slideshow.
Yes, go there.
I think so 1 second. Let me stop the share and then I will reshare in.
No, you can still do it there.
You could have done it there. Yeah.
And you could have done it there.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. I can still do it there because I was trying to share my screen 1, but Bosun is showing there. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, just put
yes, I can see it.
There's an icon there, bottom left. Bottom right, yeah. Very close, the glass icon. Yeah, that one, yeah. I think you should be fine with that. Okay, seems you have 2 screens.
Yeah, you can just go back to where you were before Bayo,
exactly.
And then just shoot
it
together.
It depends which one you select. That one is fine. Stay with that one.
Stay with that one, then let's go.
Let me stay with this one.
Yeah.
Before I turn this to an engineering.
It's just one more step. You will be there. Go to slideshow, and then you have the bigger one.
Can we get on with it, please? Yeah, Bayo, let's just get on with it. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So again, thank you for everyone for joining. So
this is your screen now.
The screen that you're seeing now is the summary of the presentation. I wanted to also, okay, it's not paging for me. Okay. So we're going to go through the background of agriculture, the current state of agribusiness in Nigeria, the issues and opportunities that we have in that industry, and a summary of the root cause of some of the issues that we have. How can we harness the opportunities? Why are we talking about community approach? What is in that? We're going to go through a case study of Safari Cities model. And this is the model that we are following as Safari Cities. It took us quite a number of years to develop that model, over 9 years before we ended up starting the model. how can we change the narrative? How can we change the narrative as a community, as a discourse community, and as a country? How can we as engineers participate? And then we'll go through our questions and answers. So that's the high level of what we're going to discuss. So before I go into the meat of the matter, I want to come up with a little bit about the background of how I got into this. So we as engineers are problem solvers. We're trained to have a mind of solving problems. This makes us experts in the art of deductive reasoning. So let me give us an anecdote about myself to satisfy some of our curiosity about today's session. Why this topic? Why me? Why the presenter? So a little bit more about me. I know Bosun has told us a lot about me, but this is behind the scenes. So I spent the first 2 to 3 years of my life with my maternal grandmother. She was a cocoa trader. She had sent my mom back to school, teachers training college, to improve herself, and while my dad was on a scholarship to study abroad. So she took me over, and the story goes that she puts me on her back while she's going from one farm to the other to buy cocoa from the farmers. And she does that every day. So when my father came back, my father ended up training as an agricultural economist, making policies and planning farms for the entire Western region. As a matter of fact, for Africa as a whole, he consulted on quite a few engagements in Africa. For some reason, I followed his work very closely, reading agricultural proposals, discussing policies, and even participating in our family's small hobby farm when it's the rainy season. So with this background, I find myself farming in one form or another, wherever I am. For example, during my youth service in Nicole village in Anambra State, I farmed there. There I learned how to maximize the use of land. Also, while I was a young engineer working on World Bank projects in Igboho, Oyo State, it was owner there by that time, I farmed with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, engineer Rahul Folaniyo. He was my immediate boss at that time. Today is the deputy governor of Oyo State. Yeah, we cultivated over 70 acres of land that year and sold over 100. Our sales of corn was over 100,000 US dollars. Even here in California, I live on a 1 acre land, and I still have a garden and a small orchard in my backyard. So that's my encounter. So those experiences must have ingrained in my mind. They form a basis of a lot of things I do. So the gist of this is that while you can take the boy out of the farm, that's from my grandma and from my grandma, it may be difficult to take the farm out of the boy, at least in my case. So let's bring this home. The cultural landscape the agricultural landscape in Nigeria is filled with a lot of untapped opportunities and seemingly insurmountable obstacles. I believe this is where we can come in as engineers to lead the charge and unlock the potentials for the greater good of our country. So that's kind of my anecdote to lead into this. And so this first slide kind of talks about just the opportunities. Today we have a lot of advanced technologies like the one we're using to communicate now, and all the social networks and all the technologies that we've learned, whether we are local or we are abroad. That should make it easier for us to come together as a community to develop agri-led communities. Bosun started to talk to us about some of those things. The foundational inputs that we really require to build financially successful communities are really available, are richly available in our country. We have huge natural resources, we have arable land, we have perhaps the largest arable land in the whole world. So we're going to use what we have to get what we need. We have superior weather. I was telling Dosme about California. California is the largest agricultural producer in the US, and California is almost a desert. Yet they're the largest agricultural producer. We have land, we have weather, we have rain, we have water. And we also have highly capable people. We have some of the brightest minds in the world on this call today as engineers, and Nigerian engineers. Yet over 70% of the African population live in abject poverty in the world's richest continent. Yes, we are the richest continents in the world by all means, by far. That's why everybody wants to be there, whether they are the West or the East or whatever they are, they want to be in our country. So the thesis, how can the Nigerian engineer lead the way in unlocking these potentials for our country, Nigeria, and even for Africa? How can we lead the way? What roles can we play as diasporas in developing agri-led communities and economically rewarding solutions, and providing economically rewarding solutions for such communities? To define what I mean by agri-led communities, I know we have different definitions, but the context of agri-led communities is, how can we create communities that is not Lagos, that is not Ibadan? How can we create new communities and use agriculture to lead the creation of that, and use that to create opportunities in our land and just start to make things happen. And while we do that, make it a win-win opportunity for all. It's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily have to be charity. We can monetize these things and create really economic opportunities and make it profitable. As we go through this, you will see it's, to me and to us at Safari Cities, it's really our everyday life. So that's the context of this. And guys, if you have questions and comments, please put it on the chat line. We will cover this as we go back later. Okay. So at the end of this webinar, here are some of the expected outcomes for the attendees. So I'm expecting us to be more familiar with expanded opportunities in agribusiness and how to make social impact within whatever our endeavors. Understand the benefits of working together and collaborating with others to create larger, more sustainable entities that will help us mitigate some of the social environmental risks that we encounter in agriculture. Let's keep it simple. In our culture as a whole. How can we transform the agribusiness landscape in Nigeria and Africa? How can we create economic opportunities for all participants, whether it's the local community, a farmer, or those who are bringing the opportunity to the people. And for us to see the opportunities as engineers, to play the role of problem solver, and to give back to our communities, and to profit from the agribusiness. So we can solve problems. So I know we're dispersed all over the world. How can we bring it all together, like we're doing now, and create these opportunities for our land? A lot of us have the mind, but we are away and we're thinking, how is this ever going to happen? So let's go over the current state of agribusiness in Nigeria. By the way, the picture on the right is a pilot farm when they were harvesting about 3 years ago. The picture may be nice, you can see cassava, but some of us will have started to see the problem, even in harvesting, how manual this is. So, but let's go back to the topics on this page. So we have in Nigeria 84 million hectares of land. Less than 50% of it is being used and for farming, and really even when we say 50% is being used, it's not really being maximized. Either we farm half of the year, or just during the rainy season, or we lose 50% of what we farmed. We have water, a predictable rainfall pattern, billions of cubic meters. We have huge supply of labor. Over 110 million of our population is between ages 15 and 65. I'll come back to that labor in a minute. I said we have huge supply of labor. I didn't necessarily mean that they're all available for agriculture, at least as of today. We have also a huge consumer market with unsatisfied demand. In fact, I was reading an article yesterday. USAID was providing some grants, and they're saying we are on the verge of famine and we can't feed ourselves. That's embarrassing, but it's true, and I believe we need to start to help to solve some of these problems. Some of the next 3 slides are just statistics of agriculture in Nigeria. I picked it from a national article. It's consistent with some of the studies that we've made over the last 10 years while we were coming up with the Safari Cities product, but NASA has done a good job of putting this well together. So work with me and let's just go through it. This is just talking about additional factors that are in favor of Nigeria's agriculture. So here they're talking about government policy. There's a lot of government policy that I feel that we can uptake. Agri borrowers program, there's a whole lot of programs out there that I feel that we can uptake. And I'm not as naive to say we can just walk in and just take it, but I feel that's the strategy that we can follow to take that. We have a rapid population growth. That's on local, regional. We have rapid urbanization. Everybody is moving to the big cities. We have rising middle income. That's also going on. We have high supply deficits, okay? Meaning, look, the food that we eat, we still have to import it. We have the what do you call it? The trade agreements that they are implementing in Africa. And food itself is a 5 trillion global industry. So we can export, but a lot of what we need to consume, we can even monetize that. Foreign trade policies, US-China trade wars can also play in our favor. So in spite of all skepticism, yes, there's a lot of factors that play into in favor of agriculture in Nigeria. Okay, let's continue about the current state. And here I want to highlight some of the issues, some of the key issues. It's not going to be all of the issues, but some of the key issues that we can focus on this discussion. We have low mechanization rates. So less than 5% of the farm cultivation in Nigeria is mechanized. And I don't even know what people, when they say it's mechanized, that is even an exaggeration. It's not really fully mechanized. Even the 5%, we're only doing maybe less than 10, 20% of what we could do with mechanization. I'm sure some of us in that industry have seen that. Poor financing, yes, there's been high interest rates that we have to deal with. Yes, the government has NASA has some low interest rate these days, but again, there's some issues with that. There's an issue with duration mismatch where they want to give us a loan. Where they want to give us a loan for 6 months when we need it for 1 year, or you're planting a long-term crop and they want to give you a loan for 1 year when you really need to amortize the loan over a period of 5 years. So there's that mismatch. There's landholding issues. I didn't know this, and most of us may not know this. The average farmer cultivates less than 2 acres of land just because they don't have mechanization, they don't have resources to do more. And we're in a forest, they can't clear it, they can afford to clear it, and therefore they can't even afford to mechanize. We have poor supply of farm labor. Okay, this is key. So people write in articles, Nigeria has labor, so many. Well, we do not have farm labor in Nigeria. And most of anybody that's participating in farming in Nigeria, no matter how you look at it, in fact, the first year we did this, we couldn't find labor in Ogun State. And it wasn't us. I found out over the last couple of years, it's the same everywhere. And so labor is difficult for farming in Nigeria. We have to go import from neighboring countries to even help us. And a lot of people do that. We thought we were just going to go into the village. The villagers are going to just come in and provide opportunities, job, and it doesn't work that way. It didn't. And so those are some of the issues that we're facing. Farm security. So whatever you do, you need to design for farm security. We are all privy to some of the issues going on in farm security, either local theft or hard issues. So then another one is the aging and apathy of the younger generation towards farming. The younger generation are not ready to embrace farming, and I don't blame them. Just the drudgery is just not amenable to make farming profitable for them. Can we solve some of these problems and make things profitable? The older farmers are exiting the stage, and so we're having a vacuum for farming, and then we're having a growing population. To me, it's a huge problem where we're facing farming, but also it's a huge opportunity and that we may need to exploit. And if we don't do it, others are already coming in anyways and buying our land and doing it for us. I don't want to go into too much details about where that is going if we don't do anything about it. So let's talk about the opportunities. Continue about the opportunities. This is another NASA diagram. It's talking about the example of the agricultural agricultural commodity value chain. So here they're talking about this dairy, 1.143 billion per annum. The numbers are huge, and you can imagine fish, and it's 3.2 million metric tons. The demand is huge. We can make a lot out of that. Even wheat, there's a whole lot of big numbers. We're importing 4.5 billion of wheat internally into Nigeria every year. Here is cassava, estimated cassava net worth of 8.3 billion by 2020. Cassava can be used in bread substitution. We kind of focused on the cassava value chain at Safari Cities, and we can substitute crops, but we decided to start from there in what we're doing. There's a lot of cassava can get processed into more than 40 different products. But those are some of the opportunities that are there. And I like this slide. And this slide kind of breaks the agricultural value chain into the upstream, pre-upstream, and then upstream, and midstream, and downstream. Pre-upstream are the guys who are going to supply services into the industry, tractor, seed, fertilizer, and all the input. Upstream itself is the cultivators, the producers of the farm. Agro-processors are the guys that process, and retailers are the guys that sell. When we studied this, and I'm presenting this, but I'm also going to talk through some of our experiences on the ground. When we studied this, we see that even though this is nicely put together on a paper, there's room to build in some efficiencies. There's room to reorganize this whole value chain and make things more effective. I think this is where we come in as engineers to be able to add value to the process. As you will see, as I break it down later, you will see how disjointed this is, even though it looks nice on paper. And that's how it's trying to do some of this as well. But the least we can do is to see how we can be practical on the land and see how we can uptake some of what they are trying to do and bring our experience and knowledge to bear and give a feedback that can improve the process. But this is just that diagram. So given all that opportunity, and as I put this, I also love this slide. So they say to exploit the opportunities that are on the ground, there are these four flow of major capitals that are required. Well, when I was reading through this, I call this the 4 C's of opportunities. We need the financial capital, the finance capital, the technology capital, the equipment capital, the human capital. To me, we as engineers, our names are written all over all of this, whether it's the technology, whether it's the key equipment, even the finance, and we'll talk about that. Our name is written all over this. So if we're not doing this, who is going to do this? This is what the industry needs. To me, it's also an opportunity for us. How can we leverage this? How can we participate in this? How can we make things happen? As a matter of fact, there's a lot of money that's flowing into agriculture in Nigeria, whether we participate or we don't, whether we stay on the sidelines or we don't. There's a lot of flow. In terms of aligning with government policies, this is where we can. Yes, there may be issues, but I feel the opportunity is there and we can make it happen. So those are some of the things that we are thinking as an entity. Okay. So in doing our analysis, and as I said, we started our program at Safari Cities. We got on the ground back in 2017. The 7 years before that, there was a lot of studies. While I was a while engineer, it was there. A lot of what we're studying was this. We had a lot of studies commissioned, just trying to study and figure out what kind of solution we can bring to place. I'm not saying those solutions on book actually was what materialized, but it helped us prepare. So when we did our root cause analysis, the way we broke down these problems is into what I call the 4 F's. We have fragmentation of land. I will explain that in a second. We have fragmentation of demand. We have poor access to financing. That's obvious. We have also what's called capital freight in finance. So fragmentation of land. So I inherited my grandfather inherited land, divided it within his children, and then his children divided within their own children. So the 1,000 acres that they have has come down to, if we even have it, it's 5 acres there, 10 acres there. So we've divided the land all over the place. And then 90% of us have left the villages, and just the land holding is a mess. And we said the average farmer holds about 2 acres. Okay, but he holds about 2 acres 5 miles away, and the next person that holds another 2 acres is another 10 miles away. In between is ownership that is absent. So the land is severely fragmented. There's no how you can mechanize land if it's that fragmented. So we have a big issue on that. Fragmentation of demand, same thing. If the land is fragmented, demand also tends to be fragmented. The timing of when I need my supplies, the timing of what type of supplies I need, the timing of when money comes in, when I have money. So demand is fragmented all over the place along the whole value chain, whether it's pre-auction. What that does is, I'll take the issue, for example, of tractors. The tractor owner who is renting his tractor will have to wait for, okay, he can't even do my 2 acres because it's too small and there's no access to that 2 acres. So it goes and maybe he finds 3, 4, 5 acres of somebody, but then that person wants to do it next Saturday. So he comes and does it and then travels another 20 miles 3 days later to go in a different direction. So it's all over the place. Haphazard. There's no way that can be profitable. Really, they can make money, but it really makes it very difficult to be profitable or to buy new tractors to make it profitable. Therefore, guess what? When we said it was mechanized, a lot of the tractors that they bring into Nigeria, maybe we all know, but I found out are at least 25 to 30 years old. If that's what we're calling mechanization, we're in trouble already. And that's like 90% of what we have as tractors. That 90% of what we have to take care of that 5% mechanization that we talked about earlier on. Then farmers lack access to financing. There's high rates of interest, there's duration match, we talked about that. Capital freight. Okay, capital freight occurs in a lot of ways. When you are in a community and you farm in there and you take all the money back to Lagos, you've extracted all the money that community is making, there's not going to be a development. That causes problem. Everybody wants to migrate to Lagos, and then the services in there are not enough to capture all of us, to cover all of us, and we're leaving a land behind. Well, that's capital freight within locally, right? And so of course there's capital freight abroad where we take all our money to Dubai and we just forget to invest anywhere. So those are some of the problems. So I'm going to split into two. I'm going to just even focus on capital freight locally, right? Where the farmer, whatever gets farmed on the land, all of the money goes somewhere else. So to us are the key root issues that needs to be solved to kind of make this industry to start being profitable. Every other problem that is being said here and there, we grouped it into these 4 buckets, and we look to address these buckets. And I feel that if you're working or looking to participate in this industry, you could also look at it from that perspective. Again, today's information sharing session, and we are looking to share information and encourage people to participate. Okay, so how can we harness these opportunities? What is community approach? So, community approach to us is engage the community by providing solutions to farmers, leverage shared service concept. I'm going to go on that about that a little bit, to provide economic opportunities in our rural communities. Profitably integrate technology into agriculture and introduce superior process flows. To me, this is where we thrive as engineers. This is what we do for a living. This is what we learn. This is just how we think. This is us. If we are not there, it's not going to happen unless we bring foreigners to do it. And but we have these skills, and when foreigners come to do it, we know it has its own drawbacks. We all learned that. Provide economic opportunities for youth and women in a sustainable but profitable manner. So the lesson here is don't do this alone. Doing it alone creates a whole lot of issues that make it highly likely to fail, for failure to occur. So that's the community approach. The benefits of the community approach is that you stimulate the creation of a middle-class consumers. When I say don't do it alone, so look, most of us can go into a farm and say, we're going to farm 50 acres, we have the money. Diaspora, you have how much is it going to cost to farm 50 acres? Of course, you're going to have issues because there's a lot of services that needs to be provided, and you're going to have to all do all of that by yourself. So my point is, let's bring people together. Let's each person contribute their own skill, their network, and let's solve this myriad of issues that face agriculture. And let's unlock the opportunities. I was during one of my during one of my studies, and there was an article that was written by a Nobel Prize economist, and I've forgotten his name now. I don't have his name. I wanted to put that as a quote. But what he said is the problem we have in Africa, why we have a lot of poverty, is that we've been unable to capitalize our land. So to me, that was profound when I read that. What that means to me is my grandfather's land in wherever it is probably worth less than it was in terms of monetary value 50 years ago than now. Our land does not gain value unless it's in Lekki or in Lagos or in some of the major cities. So how can we begin to make processes happen on the land and start to capitalize and start to improve the real estate and use that backward to finance the agricultural landscape? And you will notice when I mention government here, I will say work, leverage government policies. We can't leave everything for government to do. In fact, we shouldn't. We've experienced that for 40 years, and that's not really going to happen. We need to join forces in that. So improve capitalization of land through, what we're saying here is when we farm, we need to process on the land. It doesn't matter to me whether there's electricity or water on the land. That's why we're engineers. So bring it. We have solar, we have things. So bring it there. Make sure you process on the land. That actually makes the probability of success a lot higher, about 50, 100-fold higher. There's issues moving, locating your processing in Lagos and then farming, bringing raw materials from everywhere else. Businesses go out of, companies go out of business based on that only. But while you're there, if you're processing there, then use that to also take the opportunity to develop real estate in there for the people who work there and for the people who live there. That's how real estate gets developed. That's why City of London, it has a lot of work and real estate developed. Most of us who have studied the concept of how real estate grows and develops or understand what I'm talking about. And that's how we can begin to capitalize our land. Enable commercial possibilities of add-on services like irrigation, solar electrification, water, entertainment, and more. Everybody goes for entertainment. So, or if you bring people together, if you create communities, you are able to do this. If it's by yourself, then you are creating education for yourself. It's expensive. The rate of return is low. If you're creating it for a community as a service, that begins to create opportunities. So I have one of our friends here, I'm not sure if he's attending, he's into irrigation, but if he does it for himself, yeah, okay, that's fine. And you provide it as a service to farmers in a community. Can you monetize that? Can you put processes on that? Can you make that happen? So that's what we're talking about. Can you do the same thing for solar? It's not, one of my friends here is, okay, Yoshibodu is here. Do you want to go create, put solar on Boke's roof in Lagos? That's not the point I'm making here. The point we're making is, can we create a community on the farms? Can we bring solar electrification? Can we monetize? As a matter of fact, that actually leads to one of the gaps. I attended a World Bank session about 3-4 years ago.
Did I not talk to you yesterday about hiding the money?
One of the huge gaps that they have is what they call the income side of financing, where they're financing projects, but they have the people who are going to benefit have no income. So therefore, they cannot finance that project. Projects like building dams or building roads. Well, if we start to do this, we start to solve that problem, and we start to take matters into our hand and make things happen. And we can. I don't see what stops us. From rural to urban migration and associated social aids. Anyway, those are some of the benefits of the community approach. So sample community approach roadmap. Here we're saying what's stage one. We need to aggregate land. Those fragmented land needs to be aggregated, create parcels of land. That's kind of what we are doing, 2,000 acres. And then you pull farmers onto the land and then provide services to them on the land and leverage technology. One of the ways, and as we cover the case study of Safari Street, you'll hear this, ways that we started from technology. I mean, I work in information technology for the past 20-something years. So anyway, we started by creating a platform, and then we figured out, okay, how are we going to use it? Then we got on the ground. Providing expanding mechanization services. I talked about the issue with mechanization. There's no reason why we can't use shared services. To solve the problem, we need to create a community. You can't, if you buy a tractor and we are renting it, it's really a mess. You're going to be making less than 20% of what you should be able to make. If you pull a community together, you bring farmers on and you're able to provide services and bring the technology to work, schedule this technology so that you can say, okay, this week, this is what we're doing, and arrange financing for that. I'm going to cover that when we go to the next slide. Perform value addition on the farm. Key, you cannot take it to Lagos to perform value addition. There's a lot of issues with that. If anybody that's done any little business in Nigeria, there's issues with some of the roads, issue with people stopping you, there's cost to transportation that's high, and it's high because you have to go through police checkpoints and things like that. And if you're doing all of this, you put yourself in a position to be able to develop commercial and residential real estate locally. And then we start to capitalize that land, distribute finished products to the local and foreign markets. We produce here, and some of the rural urban migration will have to come back. A lot of people who are in Lagos or Ibadan are not financially they're not making as much money to be financially stable. You start to attract, and some of this is being done. We have entities within your state. I think NSE is doing something. NSE only is doing something in your state that you can go take a look at. Sultry. Distribute finished products to local and foreign markets. Okay, I've talked about safari cities a little bit as I was describing the issues. So hopefully these few slides will go a little bit faster so we can get to our questions and answers. So the safari cities model, we're doing a vertical integration, which is kind of what I'm talking about. We farm, we're integrating the land, and we're improving the mechanization and equipment sharing, demand aggregation, we're aggregating the demand. So those 4 Fs that I described earlier, we're covering that. Community development, we are focused on developing that community and doing the things that I've just said. We are going to avoid the capital freight. So if we're building in that community, and we are going to, there are partners that we can bring in to do solar. As we'll see, then we have to figure out how the member farmers get financing. We can provide some bridge financing through some of the strategies that we're implementing, and then put information technology all over that. Guys, this is all engineering to me. If we're not there, we're in trouble. Who's going to do it? And if we're waiting for somebody to do this, we're in trouble. We're in bigger trouble. We've waited for 40 years and it's not happening. But we can make it happen. That's our position. So the next slide is a little bit about Safari Cities. Safari Cities is a solution integrator. We provide economic opportunities for youth and women. We leverage vertical integration, just like I said, equipment sharing strategies, which is kind of what I'm describing, to create economically sustainable agri-led communities. That's what we set out to do. We are still in infancy. We started about 4 years ago, and we're making progress. We're going to show you some of the progress we're making. Our primary goals are to improve profitability and the well-being of the smallholder farmer through some of the solving some of the key issues that we said. Again, this is open book. I'm hoping that people will take this and either participate or go take the strategies that we're discussing to go implement that in their communities. Safari City is a commercial profit-seeking organization. We are not a charity. It's difficult to be sustainable as a charity in what we're discussing. We feel we can make profit and still make social impact. That's the strategy. This is a picture, and some of us will be familiar with what's going on. I'm going to explain more. But the lady sitting down there is Engineer Fondola Ojelade, the APOEN president. This was at the APOEN national president. This was at the delivery of this tractor to the site. I will explain some of what's going on with that as we go to the next slide. Okay, this is a big picture. So in a few seconds, I'm going to again some of what I've discussed earlier. This was put together, I think, 7 years ago when we were doing our initial design. It hasn't changed. So in the box here are key domain models. So there has to be a technology platform. There has to be some catalytic financing, and that's the agribusiness itself. The interaction of this is what we are integrating that to create opportunities in the market. Again, there was a software that I developed, commercial software that I developed for the USDA school nutrition program in US. I developed that as a private entity, and we took that and we're leveraging that, repurposing that for this market. It's kind of the same thing. So when we took this, the other things started falling in place. But so right now we're developing the agricultural base and putting together strategies for that catalytic financing. Catalytic financing to us is, yes, I'll go over that in the next screen actually. Then equipment sharing concept, we're bringing that to bear on the farmers. And REIT is real estate trust, pretty much putting real estate trust together to develop the land. This is still going to be a future phase, is coming soon, but the strategy is to bring real estate trust, to bring processing onto, create real estate investment trust to bring processing onto the land, and therefore create communities that people can live in. The demand is there, we just have to do it. And to me, that creates job for even us, profit for us, and job for youth, young ones that are looking for things to do. I believe we can do this. So the next slide kind of talks about what the Agripreneur platform does and the strategy of what we're working on. While we put this together as a software, we've done the design, and we've actually implemented a whole lot of it, we have to make it happen on the ground. So making it happen on the ground is what we're working on now. So the platform, is right in the middle. We have the equipment trading partners, TPE's trading partners, that will provide services to the platform, and we bring farmers onto the land. So the services are provided. Processors also provide services by processing what the farmer produce. And what we're looking to solve the financing problem is that there's a lot of programs in the bank. There is a lot of, I mean, even Nigeria has, and I say NASA, but before NASA, all other commercial banks had programs that was funding agriculture, even on the Agri-Borrowers program, which I know ran into issues, but I think it ran into issue partly because we were all absent. The people who actually have the skills and know the people in the bank are sitting down in UK or US or Lagos, and expecting the farmers to go meet my friend who I could have just called, and he knows me and will have released the funding to the farmers. So we're trying to leverage our relationships and network to create access to these farmers in the bank, especially for loans that already exist. But we're also working to leverage our platform to reduce risks for the farmers so that the farmers can be more successful. So it's a win-win. We make money in the process. By co-processing, I mean, we save a lot on just transport from the farm to Lagos or wherever the processing is. That itself is a lot of money. We experienced it 1 year, and I'll let you know. And we can bring identity verification as we bring farmers. And when I say farmers, there's a tendency for people to think farmers are the old, illiterate farmer that wielding cutlass and hoes. Well, we're going to engage some of those, but farmers could be me or you or people in the city. We can leverage technology to make things happen and create a fusion where there can be synergies that can be exchanged between different levels of farmers. We feel that it will even eliminate the issue of what they call the agric extension. That's the problem. To me, that's a redundant requirement, because if you've learned this, there can be, anyway, our platform should be able to eliminate some of that and make it digital. That's the idea behind that. When we go onto the land, these are what we want to bring in, 3 steps. We create a sustainable small order farmer ecosystem. We add value on the land, and we create a connected community, and we create a virtuous circle in between, within that, to make everything flow. What does that really mean in English? It means, look, when we provide, whether through a partner or through ourselves, the tractor services, it's not one that is waiting 2 or 3 days, or that it's efficient, it's scheduled, and we can say this 500 acres are going to be done this day. We can put that schedule on a software, and we can know when the demand, when the raw material is going to come out, and we can promise that to processing, so that processing itself can be more efficient. This, to me, this is not an invention. This has been out there, and we can all do that. And this is our vision of what we're doing. And then with Cultivate, people use cutlasses and hoe now. It doesn't cost a whole lot to bring this down, but nobody has it, believe it or not, in the country. Harvesting, very few people have it. The first year we wanted to bring mechanization and harvesting and planting, we were in Ogun State, and the place where we found it was in Ilorin, to go bring it and bring it down. I mean, that's ridiculous. At the end of the day, we had to use manually, and we had the resources to do that. We were funded to do that. Transportation, be more strategic about transportation. If you're local, make things happen locally. First year we harvested, I think we spent maybe 40, 50% transporting what we harvested to a processor 100 miles away. We could save that money. We knew this coming in. It's not, but we had to take one step at the other. It's an equation that we have to solve, one variable after the other. So anyways, that's that slide. The idea is to be able to build cassava processing malls on a land, but it could be any product. And cassava can do 40 products. So have the youth create small processing factories to process different types of products, but provide this service as a whole. So you are in a mall, you're not in, one is in Lagos, one is in Oyo, one is in, they're all taking advantage of synergies and saving costs and making things more profitable. So that's the strategy that we're implementing. We're going to start into that processing, hopefully next year, late this year. We're looking to start some of that. Again, it's a community approach. We're inviting partners, we're inviting people to join and do a whole lot of this. We can't do it ourselves. That's not the idea. The idea is to create these communities. So again, I talked about this. We're focused on the value chain. This picture was actually the first year, our cassava farm. We had a pilot project that we started. The first year was 100 and something acres out of the negotiated 1,200,000 acres. 1,200 acres that we negotiated in the local community. There's stories around that negotiation that is probably beyond the scope of this discussion. And this is a beautiful picture. I'm not going to talk about when the cows came to eat it, but some of that, and I'm saying that because we've all heard this, there are solutions that bringing a community together will make some of these solutions, some of these issues go away. That's the point. Equipment sharing services are there. So here we're saying engage trading partners. We talked about that, make it easier for agricultural to be profitable, create usable model. So our strategy is to create a reusable model for agribusiness in Nigeria. Look, anybody can copy that model. That's not the point. We just need to get these things developed. The country developed. We need to provide opportunities for our youth. We need to provide opportunities for our women. Okay, this picture it's the Safari cities equipment manufacturing and supply. When we started this, we didn't think we were going to be the one providing the tractor services. But as we were going to leverage local trading partners just to make everything happen. But as we engaged, we found that there was a lot of missing tools, missing strategies. There was a lot of things that were missing. And even the tractors are 20, 30 years old. The first one we hired, I think, died more than work and almost made our season late. I know there are tractors here and there, but in order to make our process work, we had to take a side step. And so back in 2019, I went to China to talk to some manufacturers. So we have contract farming and we created the brand. So this is the Safari brand that we're bringing to the market. So so the picture that you saw earlier on of Engineer Jelade was the first shipment that we shipped. The idea is to, we're going to create a small pool. We're still going to create, leverage local tractor owners, but we're going to create a small pool so that we can at least control the value chain in the communities that we go. So it's not just tractor that we are manufacturing. We are also contracting. We spent some time, I think 2 or 3 years, looking at what are the implements that are missing in the market. This is a plow. It is available in the market. Some people have it, but a lot don't have it. Most people just have, sorry, this is a harrow. Most people just have the plow. You can't do the planting if you're just doing the plow. Okay, so, but these people have this. What is this one? This is, for example, a weeder, a cultivator. So we went into a couple of them and we're testing them in the market now so that we don't have to use cutlasses. Surprisingly, nobody has it. Nobody just has it. So we're still using cutlasses. And remember what I said, there is no labor. So the first year or so, we didn't find labor to weed for us or to plant for us. And it's not just us. It's not because we're novices, it's rampant. This is a cassava planter. So we're contracting with some of these other products that we're going to brand for the market. There's an AI enabled tractor that we're also going to bring down, that we're branding, that actually just puts automation in it. I'm saying this to say this is opportunity for us all. If we don't engage, obviously it's not going to happen if we use what I'm talking about. But we can, it's within what we can do. We don't even need government assistance, to be honest with you on that one. But government assistance always help. My point is we should not wait. We need to start doing. So we created a website for these Safari tractors and implements. This is kind of the homepage of the website. Still a work in process website. And what I mean by that is, yes, it's out there, but we just put it out there and this is that website to show. And I'm showing this to say, look, we can do this, and this is doesn't have to be Safari cities. A lot of us can make these things happen. So we went and we contracted with the irrigation manufacturer in China. They're going to manufacture a branded product for irrigation, for drip irrigation. And there's a lot of agri-tech opportunities that we can bring in. Again, this is all within our domain. Okay, so that's our picture. This picture is from 2018. These are some of the youth that we engaged on the farm. The guy here, he ended up being employed as a farm supervisor and he's a farm manager now. This is our people planting with hand, cultivating. I think they were putting cassava in the ground. We couldn't find anything locally then. We found since then, but really still spotty. And there's some other strategies around that. And the idea was to enable these guys and give them their own little lots as well. We farm along with the farmers. So we are not just theory. We are farming because whatever we're going to sell, we have to be able to also know what we're doing. So we're farming along with the farmers. That's part of the financing strategy. We can go into details about that. Fast forward, this is the same picture in 2021. This is this guy, Cheong. I'm happy to see that he's looking a lot better. He didn't have a job then. This was his first job. He's now a farm manager. Even if this is the only person that this product benefits, it gives us utility. But he's actually married now, recently, and he's doing a lot of great work for us on the ground. This is one of the planters that we brought into the country recently. This is the corn planter. He's actually sitting here in the container offloading. We had some 2 containers arrive recently just to test some of the products that we've arranged for. But the idea is to bring these products into the market and create a profitable solution. And we don't have to go sit down and say government must do it. We can start to do some of this by ourselves and make a huge dent. And also, it's not even just the money. We have access to some of this network that we can also make things happen. Okay, so that's that slide. Again, so the idea is, can we change this narrative? Can we bring mechanization into the ground, just like I've said? We're bringing equipment sharing in. Most of us can do this, but we don't have to do everything in the value chain. People who provide services can come and that's the idea. Pool sources. There's going to be some little issues here and there, but it's better to do that than trying to do it all by yourself. Can we change our narrative? This is one of the communities that we're starting in Igbora, in Ogun State this morning, this season. And this is what they have. This is where they live. This is in Nigeria. This is close, not too far from Abeokuta, in the capital of the city. Why? This is capital freight. They have a lot of land here. The food that everybody eats is here. And some of even our communities even our developed cities are now well planned. Can we start to plan new things? Can we start to create structures like this? And I lived, I've seen that happen around me here. So it's given me the hope that we can make things like this happen. This is actually a building, a staff building that was under construction just for the staff. But to me, it's not a huge leap to get here. I'm a civil engineer. I know I can make this up. I know there's a lot of us who can do that. I don't even have to be one to do that. Can our architects do this? And I'm talking out loud here to my close friend who's been helping us with the planning of this, Boke Oshibodu, the architect. These are the things that we need to put on the ground over there. Why should I put this there? Why can't I do this? Why can't we have 40 or 50 of these in our community? Why? There's really there's nothing stopping us. Okay, so that's kind of the presentation myself. So here's our next steps that we suggest. Consider participating in agribusiness in Nigeria with a view to profiting and making social impact. Follow Safari Cities on Instagram. Consider providing your services on the platform. Establish processing facilities at the Safari location or anywhere you want, but try and do co-location. Don't separate the raw material. Avoid capital freight and solve problem for yourself. A lot of initial cassava processors in the country, about 7 or 8 huge of them, they all failed because they didn't do the co-location. But we have people who are doing that co-location now that are getting successful. So we can borrow a lead from them. Volunteer your knowledge and services where possible. Don't just hold it to yourself and say somebody must pay you before you do it, because you may learn from it. A lot of people that worked with us initially volunteered their services. Okay, I didn't do something here. I think hold on a second. I forgot my laptop. Okay, we are open to forming strategic partnership with organizations like NSE, Nigeria Society of Engineers, or APWEN, which is the Association of Professional Women Engineers under NSE. I just give that as two examples for context. There are many things that we can do for that. One way to do this, actually I add a slide in there. So one way to do this was my thought as we were pulling this together. One way to do this that NSE can partner with us. For example, you are a nonprofit and we know leadership changes regularly, and you may not want to own a farm directly, but because it's difficult to sustain. But you can provide resources through the access that you have as a body. For example, government has a lot of idle land, especially in the West, even everywhere in the country. You can use the NSE name to walk into the governor's office. I've seen that happen a lot. Tell them you want to introduce a service like this to the state. That will, we have expertise, and some of other people here have expertise. We will cultivate the land, we'll bring our platform onto the land, we'll pull people in. If the state has machineries, and they usually have, which is lying idle, we can leverage it. And we can always even arrange the duration specific facilities, the financing facilities behind that, we can always arrange that. So this will help us start to create jobs in our communities, and our engineers can also work there. We can process, our engineers can process. My vision is that youth can access some of the facilities that some of these banks have and come and process on the land. We don't necessarily have to do the processing. We just want to enable, provide an enabling environment. That way, risks are reduced. We all know if you want to create anything, most of the companies that want to create businesses have to do everything by themselves, provide the electricity, provide the light, provide all the services, the water. Why can't we create a service along that? So that's what we are out to do. Okay, so that's kind of the end of the presentation, but I want to give some credit and some thanks to some of the team that put this together. Engineer Bayo Jekayinfa, the president of APWEN, is also co-founder of Safari Cities. My good friend Salman, an impact investor who actually helped put the first plan of this back in 2009. He was actually the one that wrote the first plan before I introduced it to anybody, and he also provided part of the funding. Dr. Ajayi is the chairman of our Safari Cities Board of Directors, and I give thanks to them. And the GCS 75, this is very important. They provided seed funding. A bunch of my classmates, over 40 of them from 4 continents around the world, looked at this program and they said, Jekai, we want to participate. We had a funding them, but they provided seed funding to support Safari Cities. There's a money part, but they also provided bodies on the ground to make sure they open doors and accesses and network. Some of what I was saying that NSE could do for an initiative like this. Look, and if you want to start one like this, we'll be happy to give you the blueprint as well. We just want things to happen. I put these pictures here to put faces behind, to put faces to what's going on. The picture here is Dr. Ajayi is the chairman of the board. Is what we call the rainmaker. He just he opens doors, makes things happen. And the architect, this is engineer Ojelade, who's leading the solution delivery in the country, along with our busy schedule and while she was also getting a graduate degree at Harvard. This is Bayo Jekayinfa, executive advisor. He's in charge of oversight. He was the He was the GM for Flower Farms for a long time. He has his own establishment now. And Sholadenike helped us establish our current location and provided expertise advice. Hey Bonike is a consultant in agronomy. He works with Frame. He also helped us provide information and helped us establish, we established a test cashew farm as part of the long-term crop strategy. Ayodebola is the guy, is a great guy. He's a young guy. Obama, I've forgotten what the title is, but he won one of the international leadership awards from Obama back then. He helped us engage some of the youth and help us establish the farm. That's the guy I showed you is an on-site farm manager, a very reliable guy now. He's learning, but he's also making things happen. This is just the team that was working on a pilot project. This year we're going to be, we're looking to get into 2 additional locations just to roll out additional land and additional parts of the strategy. So that is the end of my presentation, guys. Thank you. I know I've taken your time, but I hope it's beneficial. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Bayo, for that. And I really appreciate how far you have gone in depth into explaining all this to you, to come to us, you know. And it's been a wonderful time. I've just sat down there listening to everything. I'm wrapped up in your delivery of a wonderful presentation. You've done a lot of groundwork, and I want to say now at this moment that this is exactly what we have been talking about regarding Nigerian Center of Engineers London UK branch. We have spent over a year and a half in lockdown to really do webinars. Now we are launching out because the webinars have now receded. The siege has been more or less taken away. Now we are launching out into putting our actions, our money where our mouth is. And this is what we are talking about in terms of collaboration, in terms of integration, in terms of partnership strategies. And you can see that Bayo, through Safari Cities, have been able to coordinate over there from California down to Odeda, you know, down to farms in Odeda. And that is what we are talking about. You know, and you can see in all these scenarios, definitely, that is very little or no impact or no kind of involvement of government issues or something. It's all about working in partnership and strategic partnership. And talking about strategic partnership, this webinar has been sponsored by World Remit. And we have a strong and passionate partnership with World Remit, and they have been so faithful sponsoring our webinars. So I think it's definitely appropriate to do the needful and hear a word from our World Remit sponsors before we go into question and answer session. Thank you. Just 1 second from our sponsors, please. Sorry about that. Okay.
I think you may have to double click.
You need to go to the presentation modes for the video to show.
The link
at the bottom.
Do I need to do something?
You need to go to the
no, not you, Bayo.
Okay.
This is
okay. Oh, it's showing here. Do I need to? I can click something.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
it's fine. Yeah.
Can we hear it?
No. It says no volume.
I think the setting of your share is not sharing sound. It's just sharing the video of your Zoom share.
But the message is there.
Thank you so much regarding that. And we we need to bear with us if there's no kind of volume. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. That's fine. If we don't have any volume, but definitely before we go, we have a word again from them. And I'm going to hand you over to my able innovator and creator and past president or past chairman of NSE London for the question and answer session.
President, don't let me into trouble, please.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, I hand over to you, Dr. B. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This has been a very, very interesting seminar here, or webinar as we call it these days. And you share a lot of very interesting things with us. People are being very keen and putting questions on the chat. Sorry, I'm going to take my video off because I'm in my village in Nigeria and I don't want to be cut off. So take the video off because you could hear me very clearly. So we're going to go into question and answers now. Some people have already put a question in the chat, which we've noted, and some people, I could see 2 hands already raised up. So let's start with no further ado. We're going to come back and wrap up and thank our presenter much better. The first one is from my engineer, James. How do you monitor farmers who are mismanaging investment? Sorry.
Okay. So the way that we are approaching this is whatever we're going to leverage the local banks who do what they do, or NISA or any of the funders. So that's one thing. The strategy of co-location, of creating large farms, also help with monitoring, because services are being provided and services can be monitored more closely. Monitoring becomes cheaper. So let's say today's model is you have a farmer, you have 100 farmers that you're funding, and they are spread over 100 miles, all over the place that is not accessible. That's difficult to monitor. That's difficult to do. With the community approach, you have a larger land, you have everybody in the same location. It could be 5 miles of land, but you can see what's going on. You are also, the services provided by a third party, which is all validated. Some of the technologies that we are also bringing will help do that. But the fact that you are co-located now solves a whole lot of those problems.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. A follow-on question, which is very, very relevant to that, and is from our long-standing participant in this event, Professor Olayinju from Landmark University. Can you please unmute yourself and ask your question, please, Professor?
Thank you. I want to appreciate everybody, especially the NSE London branch, for always bringing this kind of capacity building our way. I also want to honestly appreciate our presenter for the simplicity of delivery. Let me quickly also appreciate the good work that Dr. Popola is doing. I belong to the Nigeria Society of Engineers Umaran branch, and we can see the good work he's doing around that Kwara axis. Having said that, I believe there is one thing that is going for us as engineers. Wherever we find ourselves, we always want to get results. We are goal getter. We always want to have impact wherever we find ourselves. And talking about the issue of collaboration, I think it's high time that we look at engineers in the academia, engineers in the industry, and engineers in government. These three must, first of all, work together before we talk of the larger academia, industry, and government. I think we can start from the engineering platform, because anytime I have this kind of presentation, and then we compare with videos from abroad and all that is being done to drive agrarian revolution, I'm always not too happy. Why? And that will lead to my question now. With all these laudable things you have mentioned, I want to believe Safari is not also outside of this world. There is tendency that we must have experienced one challenge or the other, especially in these days of farmers having to take permission to go to their farm, to go and practice. So the big question is, because we are experiencing that, even as a university, we have a teaching and research farm, but we have a commercial farm that is doing almost similar things that you are doing, but you know you are private, you do it from the private point of view. So the big question is this: the issue of security of life, security of poverty. And when I talk of security of even property, I'm not even going to the area of bandit and all of that. Even with workers on the farm, trying to take one thing out or the other, you will be mounting gates, and on a daily basis, you will see people breaking your fence. And as a manager, you have to be up and doing and moving around. Now that if you now have a massive acreage of land that is being mechanized, how do you, with all drone and what have you, in our Nigerian situation and Nigerian factor, how are you taking care of the security of life and property aspect? Once again, I recognize all the others in the house. Thank you for this unique opportunity.
Hey, thank you very much for that. Just before you answer that, I just want to add another one, which is very related to that. It's the issue of herdsmen and cow breeder destroying farm and all that, which is all part of security as well. But the other thing I want to say, if I call you next, I allow Professor to do this amazing job he does all the time. But please, because of the time, you could make a statement, make it very short and straight directly into your question. Because by the time you make a long statement, we all forgotten what you were talking about. So straight to the question. So Bayo, please, issue of securing life and property.
Yes. So Prof, and the person that asked that question, it's a very great question that you asked. And it's a question that will deter people from wanting to come. So when we were planning before we actually hit the ground, we considered some of that. And that's one of the reasons why we thought we needed to bring a community in, as opposed to Bayo trying to do the farm by himself, and then Bayo becoming a target of everybody. If it is a community where the whole community is participating in the farming and benefiting from it, we feel that mitigates some of the theft issue. So I'm not the only one watching, or you're not the only one watching. The community is watching their investments being stolen by their own people. So you have more people guarding that. So that's one strategy why, even though we could afford to do all of 1,000 acres by ourselves, we would rather not. So one thing. Also, as you grow larger, you are able to distribute some of those risks across multiple people and improve on the security. If I'm going to take security, I will take it for my farm, and I will take one person or two farmers because my farm and my size, that's all I can do. If it's a larger farm, you can now apportion a larger budget for security. We have specific security issues in Nigeria. All other countries also have some security. I'm not saying it's the same, but when you have a community and larger approach, you can do a better financing of security purposes. And the other thing we also thought actually was, look, if I'm in a state and I have 5,000 or 10,000 acres and 6,000 people who are engaged one way or the other because they're part of it, it's easier to make a case to, I'm going to use Amotekun and say, look, we have this axis all along this state. Can you help us with this? Because this is the benefit to the economy. If it's Bayo only, the benefit is about $500. If it's a huge enterprise, the benefit is in the zillions. You can make a case and walk in and say, we need this to happen. So it's easier. We will tend to be able to approach that solution if we work as a community. There's nothing that says, based on what I just said, that you can't do 20,000 acres in 10 villages and 600 people. So they will be helping with security. Others will be helping with security. This is the economic nerve of the whole area. It's easier for all of us to focus and solve that problem as opposed to individual. That's our approach. It takes time to get there, but in fact, there was time we were going to do a live fence, and people laughed at us and say, why would we do a live fence? But we can, for example, invest in that and amortize it over, I was talking about long duration, amortize it over 10 years and distribute it across 1,000 farmers. So that starts to help the problem. If you have an issue on one little area, unless you have an army of people that want to raid 1,000 acres, if they raid 50 acres, you can distribute that risk across. So some of that start to help with the solution. Thank you for that question, but that's a key issue where we are proposing the community approach.
Thank you very much, Bayo, for that. You really answered that very well. Engineer Kenneth Orosaye.
Yes, Kenneth Orosaye. Good afternoon, and thank you very much. I'm so moved by the entire presentation, and I am an engineer here in the UK, and I've got very strong interest of what's going on in Nigeria. The area that I'm really concerned about now, or not really concerned, I really got connection with, is the part of the labor itself. I'm thinking there should be something like a farm service corps where youths should have to spend 6 months in a farm, and it will give them some kind of credits towards university, their scores, or towards their JAM or something like that. And that might just change that balance. They might not even know how good it's to be in the farm until they get there. Because I do some work with the HR services in Nigeria, and I do interviews from here. Sometimes you have to convince them to go to work. They don't see working as something you do when you finish school or something you do to earn a living. So I can imagine how it would be to get them to go to farms. And I think that's a very big issue. That's the workforce is just shrinking away. And recently, I worked with a couple of my colleagues that were trying to put a farm together, and they are now thinking of going to Bauchi, Benue State to get farmers. That's where they're getting the farmers from. And I'm meeting them on Wednesday. They're going to hire farmers from Benue State. And I can imagine that when those farmers come to Benin City and spend a few years there, they will not want to go to farms anymore. Because they will see other things about life, and maybe their children, the next generation, would not want to be farmers. So there's that fading away of that service. The manpower sector is fading away. So I think something needs to be done about that. Just like we have the youth service corps, we should have the farm service corps where people go and spend 6 months in a farm and give them credits to even get employment. And even companies should even have farms where they get tax credit because they have a farm. And they have some of their staffs and workers work in the farm for a certain period of the time. Something like that.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. That was very good. Thank you. Bayo, I don't know if you really get that question there. You want to make a comment on that, or should we move to the next question? I can make a quick comment.
I agree with the strategies that are laid down. In our case, getting those workers from Bauchi was one thing. One of the things that we added was automation to maximize the use of those workers. So this year, we're bringing in tools that will help us such that each of those workers can do 20 times in output as to what they do now. And we're also leveraging AI. If you look at what's happening in places like America, yes, it used to be slave labor that they used for this, sorry to bring that to the community, but a lot of these things are mechanized now that way that they don't have to do that. So we don't have to invent anything. We just borrow those and help with the labor. The labor is going away. We're not going to stop it because we want them educated. So we're going to provide that opportunity. We're going to make it easier. If you look at our tractors, we are not bringing tractors without head or AC. Our tractors have air conditions in them to make it easier so that engineers they can sit down in it and drive if that's what it needs to be. My point is this: we make it easier. We make it more amenable for these things to happen. Forget about the cutlass. Forget about the hoe. We need to make that change. That's actually what we're preaching here.
Thank you. Okay, I think I get the message. The strategy is to focus more on mechanizing rather than having people to do the job.
Yes.
But I think people still need to be involved in the whole process, the value chain. There's still a lot that still needs to be filled up. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I just want to acknowledge a couple of big guns, and I know some of them are into farming as well. The like of Engineer Margaret Yogunlana, Dr. Mark Kabani, who I know left UK to set up his own farm in Nigeria and is doing very well. Mark Kabani, anything you wanted to say here? Engineer Lauren Femi, I'm coming to you in a minute. Mark, any comment you want to? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. P. And my congratulations, first of all, to the Society for pulling together another brainstorming topic and for the expertise in the presentation. It brings forward a lot of ideas and things to think about. There are some things that may be taking a step too far in the sense that in my experience, I've got tractors, I've got plows, I've got harrows. One of the biggest issues which I see was being addressed was the question of spare parts, the cost of keeping those things on. My own are less than 25 years old. In fact, they're less than 15 years old, but there's still high costs involved there. And you cannot do, no matter how much mechanization you do, it can only get you to a certain point. Humans still need to be primarily involved in a lot of the processes. We still have a lot of issues on the ground. Everything, the 4 Fs that they spoke about are all true, the financing, the fragmentation, and so on. But with a plan articulated the way this one has been articulated, it is possible to start bringing these people together in order to address the issue. One of the things, and somebody just mentioned it, is getting the youth involved. One of the programs we are trying to start now is using some of our mini hand tractors to get some of the schools to understand that agri doesn't have to be backbreaking, and that there are other opportunities in the value chain, including learning not just how to repair motorcycles, but how to repair mini hand tractors. They are less than $500,000 each, very accessible, and can be used on lots of small plots. So there's a lot of things to do. This is a lot of food for thought, and I'm always happy to share my experiences. Thank you very much, Dr. B.
Thank you very much, Mark. I know you will be able to give us some fantastic contribution. I really appreciate that. You're looking very well. Well done. I have to come and visit you very soon. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next big gun, Engineer Ademola Olorunfemi. Please make it simple, nice, and solid.
Sonny, my brother, thank you very much. I know you are the moderator. It will be simple, it will be solid, and it will take up to 2 minutes. I'm sure you grant me the privilege. I want to acknowledge London branch. I requested Bosun that he should please send me personal invite whenever there is these great webinars. I say personal invite because sometimes I don't get to read all those general ones because there are just too many. I struggle to catch up with them. He did, and Sunday sent me, as Dr. P, sent it to me several times. Really, I saw it. My first interest is, I am an agricultural engineer, as I'm sure a good number of us know. I'm also the only past president that's an agricultural engineer. Not only that, that is not civil, electrical, mechanical. So, I mean, it caught my attention, and that those who saw my October lecture would see that all I tried to do there was to market agricultural engineering, and by so doing, market growth and development and well-being. So congratulations, Bayo. I think we must have met. If not, maybe your dad or your uncle or somebody. I'm glad you're related to my sister, my president. I also got an invitation from her, and he will tell you what I said. I told her, I've blocked this date, I'm attending, but thank you for inviting me. If you notice at the primaries, I was in an elderly person's house, the president in a meeting, all older than me. And I told them at the beginning of the meeting, I said, by 2 o'clock, I am going to join a meeting. But the two of them are my dad. my late dad. So you will realize that 10 minutes to 2 I was in the meeting. When I was making those comments, I was standing, walking to the door. I left the meeting even before the old man. And of course, I had a driver, so I just got home. So I listened to fantastic Bayo. I'm very proud of you, and I'm delighted. I'm happy for Nigeria. We are related in a couple of ways. I thought you were actually an agricultural engineer. This is fantastic. Agricultural engineering is actually the mother of all the engineering profession, every bit. All projects being done in Nigeria now, mechanical, is virtually agri-based, and so on and so forth. So it's a great thing. Well done, well done, well done. Funela, congratulations. I don't know if you know, I'm also ex-IF agricultural engineering. So we're related in quite a number of ways. I will ask a question that you answer when I finish quickly. Have you met Kayode Niji Lucas? If you have, fine. If you have not, I'll look you up. You're doing exactly what this guy is doing, but he's been on it for, I've known him for 30 years. He's in Okeogun, Ilero. So I'm sure you probably, I think you must have met him. If not, you need to meet him. I also like to meet you if I've met you again, even before. I want to visit your farm. I want to comment what you are doing. I'm so proud. I'm so happy that these days we find a lot of brands are talking about Nigeria, talking about the possibilities, talking about not minding the problems. You emphasize that so much. I mean, putting government in what my mentor taught me, 100% redundancy. You're not saying the government didn't do this. I mean, I was moved, and I was not going to wait for Sunday to call me. I knew he would call me, but I couldn't wait for him to call me. I want to be part of this. I want you to speak to Niji if you have not seen him, met him before. I want to visit him, and I want us to key into this. In every area I could be of help, I will. And Omaron is one, Landmark University is one partner I'm sure you have got him. Even though the VC have not said that expressly, but I think you should key into that. Well, I can go on and on, but I know Sunday will, this man has come, this boy has come again. Congratulations, good job, good job, good job.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, London branch. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. And I've heard of Niji, and we listened to his videos online when we were coming up with that design. It was a great motivation for our design and implementation. I've pinged him once on the forum, but I haven't physically met him. So I will appreciate meeting Niji. Yes, those are the forerunners of this concept, and we took quite a lot of what they're doing in designing our own approach.
Yeah, if Sunday quickly allow me, I sent it to him this afternoon. If he didn't join, I can take the liberty to give you his phone number immediately after this session. I can take that liberty for free to let you have his phone number.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Engineer Lauren Femi. That was wonderful. I know you didn't just raise one hand, you raised two hands. So I knew there must be a reason to be raising both of your hands. So I have to call you. Following nicely from there, I'm going to call somebody who's been very active behind this webinar. As you were talking, Bayo, she was answering questions. I wasn't able to answer questions. She took it over. And that's Engineer Funela Ojelade. Please, my sister, the floor is yours.
Engineer Funela Ojelade is a co-founder of Safari Cities.
I'm aware of that. That's why she was answering all the partnership questions that people are posting.
Okay, please do.
Dr. Popola, I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I think this should be better. I had two devices on. So actually, I was raising my hand at that time to answer the question on security and all that. But before I go on, I just like to make a correction to Engineer Bosun. The head of APWEN is called president, not chairwoman, not chairlady.
Yes, ma'am. I took that straight off from your mouth.
There are 3 presidents of APWEN on this platform. If you let them hear that you call them chairwoman, chair lady, chair girl, they won't be happy.
I take that on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We're very sorry about that. He's called me president twice today as well. Sorry about that.
We are so sorry about that.
He does you president and get president to those who are not, and call those who are president.
As a matter of fact, definitely a very honest mistake, and definitely we're taking it on board. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. When is the only division of NSE that is allowed to use the appellation of president for its leader.
Fantastic. Yes.
So I was actually going to talk about the security issue that someone was talking about, and I think my brother addressed it a little bit when he said, when you have 1,000 acres, somebody comes in and steals 550 acres. If you know the way the harvesting is done, you know that cassava is not something that you can steal and make any profit out of it. The way our farm is structured is that the workers live on the farm, so if you're going to be coming, I don't know how much collusion you would do to be able to take away all the farm overnight. So that is one. Then when it also comes to the issue of herdsmen, I realized that many of the herdsmen stories that we hear all over the land, many of them are not actually herdsmen. They're actually militants who are doing something to harm the community. They have targets and they go for it. Of course, we had issues whereby cows will come and devastate part of our land, part of our farms and all that. That happens. They actually do terrible things. They will bring their cows to feed on your farm, But what I've also realized is that, for example, that one happened to us maybe like for the first 2 years. But it was just a particular herdsman, who was resident around there, whose cow used to come and do that. But he will always deny. He will always lie about it. But how that got solved was that a policeman came and got farmland around our farm, and every now and then he will arrest this chief herdsman. And before, when we used to arrest him, he will bribe the police. We will bribe the police. Everybody will give money. Police is happy. But when you take your cow to eat the farm of the DPO, I don't know who you are going to bribe. So he had to leave that environment. And the moment he left, everything about cows eating farm ended. And so we're able to say, oh, so you're actually the one doing this thing, and you have always been denying. So these herdsmen are still there, but I know we'll find a way around them, but we are actually getting a hold of it much better.
And if I can add a little bit to that, Funola, is that just the example you gave. So when I said you don't farm by yourself, so those are some of the strategies you can bring in place. There's no reason why you can't bring police families to be part of the farming community, and there's a way to integrate all of that. And so that helps. If you're doing it on your own, it's difficult. Houses are coming in, residentials are coming in. There's no reason why you can't integrate police families into that as well. Those opportunities may help and prevent some of this. Please continue.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. The next one is by our brothers back in the UK here. He's always asking very pertinent question. Engineer Patrick Obidoyin, please unmute yourself. Engineer Patrick, are you there?
Dr. P, I've not raised up my hand.
Well, no, your question that you asked, I want you to spell it out.
Okay, all right. I think during the course of the presentation, my question seemed to have been answered. It was around the tractors, because you did mention that most of the 90% of the tractors were above 25 years old. I was asking what the solutions were, but I think you did touch on that. But if you want to add more, that would be absolutely fine. I know Dr. Mark Abani also talked about those tractors, but I think you can add some flesh to that. Thank you, Dr. P.
So we studied the situation, and we decided, really, I was, if I can use this language, I was really pissed that this is what we're ending up with. So that's why we decided to go and say we're going to create our own brand, and we went to contract this. So, and something, a lot of the used tractors that were being sold is being sold sometimes higher than a new tractor. It's a pissing contest. So that's why we said we are going to create our own brand. It's going to be new. And then they will send tractors to us. It will never have a head on it. With the ones we use here, it has a cabin on it. It has AC, it has heater. So we said, we're going to solve that problem. I'm not going to complain to anybody. When we bring our tractors, it's going to have a cabin. It's going to have an AC on it. And we're going to include that as part of the cost. But they're all going to be new. And we're going to provide it as a service. Now, it doesn't have to be me only. Others can do the same. But we're going to provide it as a service, so it's more profitable to own that because your downtimes are not as much. And we're going to create that ecosystem where the funding, so we're talking financing. Financing is just not just to throw you money. You've got to put strategies and processes in place to make sure these things can be profitable. So that's kind of what we're doing to address that. I'll take one more question on that, which is, somebody said, can you manufacture this in Nigeria? Can you do this? Well, yes, components in Nigeria is a thought. We feel that it will grow into that, but we want to bring it in first. We're not going to say you must invent, and then look at our core competence. Look at where we can excel. And people can copy this, people can maintain this, people can say, okay, it needs to be better, and they can do it. If they can do it profitably better than the other sources. If I can get it at $20 from China and it's costing $200 here, forget about that. Let me bring it in from China. We can do something else. There are other services that our people can do. We want to create jobs, but we don't want to create jobs that will mess the other downstream value chain up. I'm going to say one more thing on that. Since you still talked about it, a tractor in US is about $150,000. So if you buy a new tractor, it's going to be too expensive for you to be profitable on it. That's what's killing an agriculture, right? So if you can bring it from a different source, it's high quality, it's well tested, we stand to be able to start solving some of the core financial issues, the amortization of costs, amortization of loans, and quite a few things that is inherent in our agriculture that's making us completely impossible to be successful in that area.
All right, thank you very much. Quickly on to Engineer Jonah Attar. Please unmute yourself. Engineer Jonah Attar. Well, his question is about marketing. Is marketing a major issue in cassava's farmers? What do you think?
It's a major issue. That's what we call the demand fragmentation. Yes, people sign contracts, MOUs, and all of that. But we feel the processes that we're putting in place, the strategies that we're putting in place of processing on the land, and so processing, first of all, makes the shelf life of the raw materials longer. And then, because we're bringing in some other services and mechanization, some of the communities, farmers in the community or participants are able to even go and market. So a lot of that is designed into the package so that we can put a little bit more organized effort in marketing the product for farmers on the platform.
Thank you very much for that. The next person I'm going to call is an amazing guy, seriously. He publicized, I mean, we had over 100 people here today, and I can tell you, at least 50 of them was due to this one single person. He always publicizes our events everywhere. He actually does it more than the NSE or the other NSE branch does. So thank you very much. Engineer Abdul Rashid Babalola, please unmute yourself.
With due regards to my past presidents on board and my distinguished senior colleague, I want to appreciate very sincerely London branch. It has been wonderful. Most times that they come up with a webinar is always high knowledge sharing. I particularly want to appreciate the last speaker who are coming on board, Dr. Pupola. Even at home, the wonderful thing you have come to do in Nigeria, we are watching. Your passion for engineering development is no second part. May Almighty God continue to strengthen you. Kudos to the current chairman who has taken the way of Dr. Pupola. Like I said, there is no time I see anything on London branch, I must stop other adverts and go for it because they share most of the knowledge that we are having right now in NSE. Thank you, sir. My question, the presenter, you have done a very good job today, and I must appreciate you. You have brought all engineers of every field of engineering to agribusiness today, and I'm glad to be part of it. Though some of my questions have been answered, even when Engineer Fumi, the president of Upwell, was defending the herdsmen in Nigeria. Well, I'm not trying to use that language, but it has caused a lot of problem. Like this type of business that is taking place in Benue, where we have people that have developed hectares as we have prescribed to have plantation for yam and so on and so forth. But now they are being attacked by people that we hear every day, even though it is communal, whatever. But what can be the solution to this from what you have told us today? That is one. I may not be giving second opportunity. Let me just ask the second one. When we follow exactly what you have said and we develop agribusiness in our area, and how do you handle the corruption? The corruption, I said, you employ, of course, you are showing us your employee, your farm manager, and so on and so forth, and I do very well. You showed us when he started, how he looked, and how he's currently looking now, married, and so on and so forth. Now, it's because you are in control of that. Maybe through some other factors. How do some people that have done that they couldn't continue because we heard of some of these plantations, how to export cassava. So we key into it, and the people that are employed could not allow it to survive with corruption, nepotism, and so on and so forth. So, sir, can you share more light? Maybe we could go back. Some of us have tried again before, but we have to drop due to all this. So how do we solve the corruption? Not stealing from outsider, even the staff themselves, who seize the opportunity. You have poultry, they carry the egg, they put it under dust as if they're going to throw waste and so on and so forth. How do we solve that problem, sir? Thank you once again for having me. Okay,
thank you for the question, and I appreciate the question. I want to share my ideas. It's by no means the all in all, but we thought about this. As I said, it took us quite a couple of years to come up with whatever we're doing in our approach. So talk about the Benue thing. I've heard of it in the market. We again still feel a community approach is what starts to address these issues. If you have a community of farmers, this is not government, right? This is a community of private farmers. You have a better chance to organize whatever security you need to address the issue at stake. I know that it's huge, AK-47s and all that. My point is, if you're not alone, if there are 100 of you, you have a better chance of coming up with if possible, a matching strategy. It could be because people in the force, it could be because of whatever, but if it's just one person, you're gonna fail. And I put that example to one person in the past. I said, look at, there was a situation, a video I saw, there were a whole village, about 100 of them, little kids, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 20-year-old. They were chasing a herd whatever out of their town, about 500 of them. My point is, as a group, we do better than individuals. Now, that's what I can say about that. I don't want to be here and blast and boast that, oh yes, it's going to be possible. I'm just saying we're in a better position to solve that issue working together. There are thoughts that we've had, the securities that we can bring in place, that if you're big enough, you're going to get your own AK-47. I'm not saying illegally. You're going to be able to make a case and come up with non-political approach to this if you're big enough and you have a network. By yourself, I don't care who you are, you're most likely to fail. That's the community approach. So thank you for that question. The second thing you asked about is the security. So I trained as a CPA, an accountant, somewhere along the line. And part of what I designed for global companies is securities and control of assets. The reason I bring that up is there's a company here called Walmart. Most of us may know it around the world. They get robbed by the people who make it their business to just rob Walmart. They have more lawyers who are called Walmart lawyers on one side of the house or the other side of the house. The reason I bring that up is that, yes, theft is going to come. People are going to want to steal. I think it's people's nature. But by also creating a community approach again, you have a better opportunity to put internal controls in place. We started with cassava just because we know it's not as easy to move until we figure out what you're saying. I saw a video online recently where people were taking eggs, putting it in the cap and stealing all that. We started with that, but really what you want to be able to do is put your internal controls in place. Do your separation of duties. I'm sorry, I'm taking into account, but if it's by yourself, it's difficult to do that. If it's many, you have somebody checking this, you have somebody else checking that, you have somebody else doing different things to make sure you block leakages. We had this issue, the very first farm manager we hired, he robbed us blind. We saw it immediately, and it made the first year fail. So we changed it. We saw it, however, because of the controls that we put in place. Somebody was doing something that we're checking this. For example, we're grading our properties, where we're saying, look, we're supposed to have this much yield per acre or per this grade. So I have a surveyor doing that now. So when they harvest, we can programmatically compare it and say, why is this guy less than the other ones? Okay, yes, you may not catch that particular one, but some of those controls might help you to be able to solve that problem. That's what I can say, but don't do it by yourself. If you are the only one, it's difficult to be the mom and the pop and the uncle and the sister. I'm not saying it's perfect, but that's our own approach.
Thank you very much, Bayo. We've got two more questions, and I'm going to leave my sister, which I'm not going to call her name yet. I'm going to leave her to be the last one. So let's go. This is what I love about this WebDAT thing. You can fly from one country to another without jumping onto any plane. No carbon, CO2, nothing. Let's go to London. Yeah, all right, all the way from Kwara State. Yeah, we'll move it to London. Engineer Tony Ajala, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Upola, and thank you, Bayo, for the good presentation. And I really like what you first said when you started your presentation about your mommy carrying you to the farm. Now, it's time for us to carry our own young ones to the farm. You see, many times I've visited Nigeria. One thing that's always, apparent to me is what are we doing with our young ones? First of all, I need to commend Dr. Popola. He's been doing a very good job in his own village. He's done it very well that, I really appreciate him every time I see all the good things he's been doing. One thing is that we don't need to copy international way of curriculum. Is there any reason we could not start agricultural engineering or agricultural science very early? The earlier we start, taking some of the subjects to the primary school or to secondary school. I went to Mayflower when I first started primary school. And I can remember at the age of 7 or 8, no under late Tai Sholani, you could see us going on the farm, planting something like corn or all those type of things. That still with me up to today. And I can remember the time of Olusegun Obasanjo under the military, head of state, or wherever it is. He also started talking about Operation Feed the Nation. How could we feed the nation when we are not even bringing our young ones? We're not taking the education to our young ones. Like what you've got now, I can't see the reason why you could not go to some of the schools and bring them to your plants, to your factory, just to let them see what is going on. As they see more of it, the better it is. Because many times my wife always asks me when I go to the market here, that why is there so many Indians selling our own goods in UK? It's because we don't have that competency to do it, or what? So that's my question, is that what can we do? Either you go through Dr. Pokuola, who is now more established in talking about STEM, to bring this agricultural science to the primary school, secondary school, as one of their subjects. Is there any way we can encourage that? That's my question.
So, sir, I think that's a great question, and I think it goes into the heart of what we feel are the advantages of that community approach. There's no place where people can see an example of what we teach in class. So we feel that communities like this, projects like this, present that opportunity, both the primary, both the secondary, and even colleges. And yes, what you said, we'll take it to heart. When we get to that point, we intend to do that. There's a whole lot that people can learn by just visiting. It's not just the farming, but just the concept of what we think we can put in place. So I completely agree with you. And to me, that's one of the advantages of getting together and creating this kind of entities. Wherever, again, we're leaving the book open, whoever wants to do this, we believe this is the foundation that we can lay to create other avenues and services that we can build on. I want to be building homes. I want to get contract to build streets. I want to get contract to build that. If you don't create the middle class, which is one of the things that you had just said, if you don't create that middle class, who is going to consume what you're providing? That's what we feel we could do with this.
Thank you very much. Before I ask my last question, or the last question, give somebody opportunity to ask the last question, comment. I would like to apologize to you guys that I often call your name, although most of you have read up your question because you put them into the chat box. Somebody like Taiwo, Andrew, Jonah, and Adetokunbo, you raise your hand very, very late. You should do it much earlier than that. Right, I'm going to move on to our sister here. She's a very passionate supporter of London branch, especially when she was the, I think, deputy president or vice president a couple of years ago. She's very keen on London branch. So, Engineer Margaret Ogutana, please, the floor is yours. Let's add the final word from you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my chairman. Let me first correct my name. My name is Margaret Oguntala. I think you got it right this last time, but you're always pronouncing it as Ogunlano. I understand.
Sorry, I got it wrong the first time around, and I correct myself immediately, but I didn't want to repeat it. So that's why I got it right second time around. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Let me greet my elders here, particularly Engineer Ademola Olorunfemi, past president, and other elders that we have in the house. And then my president, the president of APWEN. When I saw the advert for this webinar, I thought there was something familiar about the name, Jekayinfa. So, but during the program, I wasn't sure really until the program started and she was introduced as the sister of the presenter. Then I remembered that I saw the name when she posted the demise of her father. So now I understand where she got her passion from. Her passion for doing whatever she does. I mean, the passion that she puts into anything that she does. So kudos, my president, ma. The lecture of today has been it's also a point to the fact that there really is not that much of an alternative to agribusiness. In these days of dwindling revenue from oil, I think the best way to go is agric. And that some of you are already driving it makes me very, very happy. So I congratulate the UK London branch, and in particular, Mr. Chairman, you're doing such a very great job. I mean, you're building on what the engineer Sunday Popola has done. And he's also here in Nigeria doing a lot more. So I thank you for the opportunity of this webinar, which one would normally have had to pay for. So thank you very much, London branch, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, and happy birthday to you. I know Corona didn't allow us to come and celebrate, but I wish you a happy birthday. So on that note, should I pass back to my chairman, or you want me to summarize what we've had today, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, you can just summarize, and then let's wrap up with award from our sponsors as well.
Right. Before I summarize, I would like to make an announcement of one of our branch in the UK, our Manchester branch. One thing we Africans don't like to do, we like to create things, we like to make things, but we don't document it. So a white man or an Indian or Chinese man will come to it about 2-3 years time, see it, oh, that's a great thing. Then they go and document it. So there's a webinar coming up on the 30th of April by the Manchester branch UK on invention and patent. Is very, very important. I've got 3 patents, and I get money every year for my patent without having to do anything else. So please, if you come up with something, try patent it. Even though if it doesn't go into manufacturing, the fact that the thought is yours, put it down on paper. Anybody that wants to use it, you have to come and knock on your door, and it brings chin into your pocket. So that is on the 30th of April. I think it's a Friday at 5 p.m. So it's the end of the week, and you wanted to relax. So come to Manchester, while you're in Nigeria, or you're in Washington or California or San Francisco, you can visit Manchester on the 30th of April and see or hear all about inventions and patents. And that's the flyer that Engineer Patrick has gladly shared on the, my chairman has gladly shared on the webinar there. Right, let's go back to Bayo. Bayo, CSA, I don't know how you do it. You are so calm. You're so easy. You flowed through the presentation so nicely. I was taking notes as I was going along. Then I came across some of these acronyms that I'm used to. I thought I'm the only one that uses them. The 4C, the 4 Fs, although my 4C is slightly different. My 4C is about creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and it goes on like that. But you use the same thing. Those things, you can never forget them. Look at your 4F. The fragmentation, the financing, the freight capacity, and the community. I mean, you cannot forget that. And then you said something which really got me. We can't expect the government to do everything for us. Which country is it where the government does everything? Impossible. You have to get up on our butts and go up and do it. Look at all those schools that the governments now own, all those community schools, all those religious schools. They didn't wait for government then. They went and created schools. And then when the government realized, oh, this is a good idea. Okay, we're going to adopt them. We make them our own and then run them down. There are 4 schools in my town here. You can't put a goat in a classroom. A goat. If we put a goat in there, the goat would say, this is not for me. I'm coming out. And you expect to put children there and you expect them to learn. So after myself and my family and some guys, we will start making changes here. Because you can't rely on the government to come and do it again. They haven't done it for 30 years and then probably don't have the money to do it. So we have to rise up, we have to get up. It doesn't take that much. When you collectively do it, it's much, much, much better. So that phrase you use there, the demand is there. We don't have to wait for the government. We can get up and set up our own farm, set up our own company, impact our community and get this community approach going, and everything will be very good for us. So thank you very, very much. It's an amazing, when the chairman mentioned that you want to come and do this and you've already make your slides ready and you send your slides to me. I said, this guy mean business. This is a good one. And when we spoke after your sister's again, I know you can't wait to share your So it's been very, very beautiful. We also got plenty of land in my village. We'll give you free land. We don't charge for that. Okay, so I appreciate you webinar for today. They do very well. And our next webinar, which, you know, is crazy to do it, but it's going to be next week. Based on the comment that is it Glasgow? It was Glasgow branch seminar he attended. And he said, oh, this now put London branch on their toes. I said, really? And I challenged him. By the time I challenged him, he was gone. I challenged him to rephrase that question, or to explain what you mean by putting London's branch on their toes. And then somebody said to me, London's branch has been quiet. We're quiet. We have to celebrate Easter now. And I have to relax from Corona. So we decided to keep quiet for a couple of weeks. But now we're on the run. Based on what Long Premi said, we are running again with 80 grand running. We're going to be doing this webinar every week. If God allows us to do it. Every week, every Saturday, we're going to be doing this. So we've got one next Saturday. And that one is going to be about Lagos. This is a guy that's also been trying to come to us and tell us, because there's all this bad news about Lagos, especially when it comes to flooding risks and all this thing that goes with this climate change and all that. So engineer Lekon Oladende, is it Oladende or Oshinede? Engineer Lekon Oshinede is going to come. Shodende, that's right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Environment.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So he's going to come and talk to us the same time next Saturday, the 24th of April. He's going to talk about flood risks and Lagos. And I've seen his slide. Believe me, it's going to be wonderful. So we invite all of you to come back here next Saturday and come listen. Hey, engineer. Who's talking there? Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. So that's going to be what we're going to have next week. It's going to be another fantastic event. This time, 2 o'clock London time, Nigerian time, on the 24th of April. You're welcome, and there's going to be, pounded yam, everything at the end. If you're really into food and drink. Thank you very much.
Pounded yam. Eat pounded yam.
Thank you. Come to my village. You come to my village. You eat pounded yam.
To everyone. I'm coming.
Thank you for coming, everyone. At the peak of this webinar, we got about 100 participants coming today, and that has been very encouraging. And like Dr. Mukwala has just said, we couldn't have done it without your cooperation, and it's really, really very encouraging to have people coming on board. And I want to take this opportunity to just say thank you for being there for us. From everyone that has come on this program, we want to say yes, definitely. We want to see more of you. And not only to talk about this webinar, as we always do, we want to begin to partner with our strategic experts on this topic we're talking about. So if we need more, more information to talk to them and you want to push it further, definitely, I think it's something that we can always venture into. And yeah, once again, definitely, we want to say thank you for coming, as I said earlier on. And as we see you next week again for any of our other webinars, have a wonderful week and God bless. Thank you so much. I'm going to unmute everybody.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Dr. P. Baba Gana from Medigree.
How are you, sir? Professor Babagana? I didn't see you there.
That's right. Thank you.
My twin brother.
It's so wonderful to have you, sir.
Ramadan Kareem.
You're welcome. Welcome. Bayo, thank you for coming on board.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, VC, sir. Professor Olayonju, thank you very much. We really appreciate you, sir. My past president, sir, my hands are up.
God bless you.
I must. I'm going to call you once I finish that before I take my. What do we eat here? Pounded yam.
Ask him to put down his hand.
Dr. Popola, I take your invitation. I'll be in Nigeria next week.
My hands are still up, sir. On this side, you put it down.
Put it down.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you.
God bless you. That's a good one. Engineer Jekayinfa. Bayo, how are you, sir?
I didn't see you. How are you, sir?
Oh,
thank you.
Oh, my chairman. How are you, sir? Greetings from Scotland. Well done. That's a fantastic one you organized there. Well done.
We thank God. We thank God, sir. We thank God, sir. And then definitely will be on for yours very soon by God's grace. Yeah.
Engineer Olorunfemi, how are you, sir?
My bro,
yeah, fine, sir.
I'm saying hello. No, Tony Ajala. Baba Oninko. Also get better.
Yeah, Prof. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. See you in Glasgow.
Thanks
for joining this one again. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. I mean, Prof has been very encouraging. He has been very encouraging. And I want to also recognize some of our colleagues now who are all classmates with us with Bayo many